Hello friends, welcome to Helping Testers. So from this lecture we are starting to study each components one by one. Previously we have studied the overview of different components. Now we'll be studying them in detail. So we are starting with samplers, and in the samplers today we'll be studying about the HTTP request, the most used sampler. So let me in the test plan add a one thread group, that is through this thread group we can create virtual users. So I will name it as scenario 1. In this thread group I will add a sampler. Sampler are the code or the component which works in real time, that's connecting a website, sending load. So all those request response HTTP requests are done through samplers. So the most used sampler which we should be aware, so there are a number of things. Just hold for a second, I will just let you show that there are number of samplers, number of preprocessors, config elements. We should not be knowing all of these. Some are just specific to some projects only or their needs. So to cover each and every of these element is not possible. So how we have designed these lectures are, we will be covering all the important ones which you must be using, and I am sure you don't be needing to learn anything what we have taught. So we are starting with a sampler, that is HTTP sampler, to send the HTTP request, that is REST APIs, and you can send here HTTP request. You can see the methods are post, head, put, all the HTTP REST commands you can send through this. Okay, so here you can change the name. I will, let's say, give it as name as home screen. And which website we will use? We will use the JMeter apache.org. Now first of all we want to put load on this website. That is, first we will be navigating to home screen. So it is a GET request since it extracts data. So it's a GET request. Here you can mention which protocol it is used, HTTP, HTTPS. You can name the IP or domain name and the port number. As we are using the website, live website, so there won't be any port number. Server name would be this one. This is a server name, that is the base URL. We don't have to mention www or HTTP here. We can remove here and it's an HTTP, we can write it here. It a get method and it don't have any path, so that is fine. In the advanced section, in the implementation, you need to check the Java. So that's all. We have some features of body, file, upload, parameters. So as we proceed with the lectures, we will be working with these. So this is our one request, that is home screen. Now in the second, what we want to do, we want to click on security. As you see, the URL changes. Again it is a GET request and this is the request. Let me add another sampler for hitting another API, that is HTTP request. It is a GET request, and in this we are visiting the security screen, and again it's an HTTP. Let's copy the URL. As said, we don't need www and HTTP. Also, this is our base URL. Let's take another one. I will tell you why. because it's on different domain. I want the domain which is this one only. So let's say I click on overview. The domain remains the same. License. You can see the domain is changing here. It's coming org. While if I click on release notes, the domains remain the same. So let me go and find release notes. Okay, and this is the URL. So we don't need HTTP here. So what is the base URL? It is still org. So here it's come only base server name and the path comes here, right? So this is how you can prepare your HTTP request. This is a GET request. So here only comes the domain name and the path comes here. So we have two APIs, two HTTP APIs, home screen and release notes. Let us add a listener, that is view result tree, and save this. We will save this as in videos samplers, and we will save it as HTTP request. And let's run this. So the first has failed while the another has passed. Let us check the reason. So it is sending this request. Okay, we have used the slash, that's why it is failing. Again, let's run this. See, now it is passing. It has passed the correct one. It is getting a response of 200. Response is okay. Similar, it's for the release note. So this is how you can prepare your HTTP request. Now on this screens, home screen and release screen of the JMeter, we are providing a load of 10. Now if I want to check with 5 users, I will just make it 5, save it and run this. Now you will see that 5 users are hitting the home screen and then 5 users are hitting the release notes. So this is how you can prepare your test scripts for hitting the websites. Now let's make another scenario, that is another thread group. Name it as scenario 2. What I want to do in this case, I want to hit this website. This is the website running at my local web tools, which we have installed in the previous lectures. So let's copy this, and inside this I will make a HTTP request. I will give it here, and I will name the HTTP request as web tools home. Now as this is an HTTP, so we need to give here HTTP. This is a base URL. Port we need to give it here. So you need this port copy from here to the port number. What is a base domain here? Our base domain is this, right? So only the domain name would come here. This is the path. This would come here, right? So this is how we can prepare our HTTP request, which is available on our local. Let's see. Let's add a listener and let's see if it's working fine or not. Save this and run. Yes, it is in green. The response goes it okay, and it is 200. Request is same. That is the correct one. Let's check. Copy this and hit it again. Yes. So this is how you can generate the live website URL and the URL which is available on your local machine. Now you must have seen here, when I'm clicking on view result tree, it is just showing me this one, the result of this request. The reason is the hierarchy. View result tree here is in this hierarchy of scenario 1, so it will have all the request and response of this scenario 1. This view result tree is in a hierarchy of scenario 2 and it will show the result of this web tools home only. So this was a lecture. In this we study how we can prepare or use the HTTP request. In the API testing section, we will be taking some important HTTP request, get, post, put, delete. So you get more idea how we do the API testing. Now in this we will be taking another HTTP request. Just a second. Yeah. So these are the samplers, and in this you will find many number of samplers requests, that is, like you have HTTP request for connection with the REST APIs, you have FTP if you want to download or upload with the file transfer protocols, that is file servers, you have JDCB request if you want to connect with databases, you have LDAP request if you want to connect with LDAP request. So JMeter provides a number of samplers requests by which you can connect to the server and perform the load testing. So in this lecture we'll be taking up FTP request. Now to demonstrating the FTP request, we would be needing one FTP server, free server, which you can also work at your end. So I have this server. So it is a free server which you can also access it. So I have FileZilla, and let's see, this is the URL and the username is anonymous. Let's see if we are able to connect through or not. I'm waiting for welcome message. Yes, so it was successful. So these are the files and you can download it at your end. Okay, so this server is you can use the username as anonymous and you can log in, upload and download the files from here. These are the files. So let's work on it. So this is our domain name, that is our server name. This remote file, the file which we need to download is 1kb.zip. This file 1kb.zip. Where I need to download this file? In my D drive. Sorry. And it is a GET request because we want to get request from the server. Username, it would be an anonymous, and the password. So by this request you can download a file. And let's add a listener to check if you're working fine or not. Let's save this and desktop as a name of FTP sampler. And let's run this. So it is giving an error. Okay, the reason is that it's not asking for a location, it needs a file name. So if I give a name here, let's say helping testers dot zip file, just a name, and let me run this now. Yeah, it has passed because it was, we need to give a file name here. So it has passed. Let me go to D drive and I will find this a zip file created. So this is how you can interact with file transfer servers. You can provide load here and you can repeat this number of requests and you can do performance testing. If I say save file in response, let's see what it gives now. So whatever data which is present in a file would be printed here. So it's just some characters, so it is printing this. So that's all for this sampler. We will be talking about a sampler. Let's first add a third group and you will find a sampler here, OS process sampler. As the name suggests, it has to do with our operating system. The commands which I can write on my operating system like IP config. So it get me the my IP details. So if same I want to do with the help of JMeter, it can be achieved. So you need to just write IP config in the command prompt and the same would be executed. Let's add a listener to view the result and save this file as OS sampler, and let's run this. So it is processed, request is ipconfig, yes, and in the result you will find all the details which are same as we have used here, right? Yeah. Now let's work a different one. Let me suppose I want to there's a command dir. What it does, it lists all the files inside a folder. How this can be achieved? Simple. Like it was ipconfig, right? I won't delete this. I will just disable it. Disable means that it won't be executed when I am running. Let me add a new OS sampler request and let me add dir. Save this and run. So you will find an error. Error says executing dir and the response code is 500. The system cannot find the file specified. Now there is a reason. JMeter cannot execute all the operating system commands like this. Though there were some independent commands like this one, ipconfig, we are able to execute, but all commands cannot be run by this. So in our case, if I want to execute the dir command, then we have to first tell the JMeter that it's a cmd command. Then we need to add this parameter /c, and now we need to add a command, which command we want to do. Let's save this and run this. See, it is run now. Let me clear the old result and let us run now. Yes, it is run, and it should run cmddir. It is this slash. I was using the wrong slash. That's the reason, maybe. Let's see. Yeah, I think that's it is. Yeah. Okay. Thank God I remembered, unless I would be wasting a lot of time, because these type of silly mistakes are just very hard to find. If there had been a complex situation, I could have googled it and could have find the answer, but these type of slashes wrong are very hard to find. Okay, so my current directory where the JMeter is this. So under this command, it has given me a di command and it has list all the files. So in the JMeter bin, what we find jmeter.batch file, right? So it must be here. Yes, JMeter batch file. Okay. So let's perform another activity of OS here. Let me disable it and add another sampler, that is OS Pro sampler. Let me go to my bin file. JMeter bin file is on my desktop. In the bin, and let me create a new file. Let me open a notepad, and what I will do, I will make a new batch file. I will do echo, and inside it I will write helping testers.com. So what it does, it will print the helpingtesters.com. Let me save this under my JMeter because that's the default folder, JMeter bin, and we need to save this as helping testers dot bat, and we need to select all files, and let me save this. So it has been saved. Let me check. Helping testers. Yeah, it is saved as a batch file. Now I want to run this with command prompt. So again, I need to write cmd, then /c, and then what I need to write, I just to write the name of the file, that is helping testers.bat, and need to execute. Let us save this and execute. See, it has printed, it has run this file echo helping testers, and it has print what the text was present. So using this sampler, OS process sampler, we can execute the commands which we can execute through command prompt on a local machine. Here we will be talking about a sampler that is known as test action. If we think about this sampler, actually doesn't come under the samplers. It is not a type of samplers, but still it controls the sampler. So JMeter guys have put it under the samplers category. Let's study about this. Let's make a thread group and add a sampler that is known as test action. When you open this, you will find that you can just make it that it in itself it is not doing anything. What it does during the execution, when you put this type of test action, it will perform some activity. It will pause the thread, stop the thread, and go to the next loop. So these type of activities. To understand more this in detail, let us add 2-3 samplers, let's say Java request, for good understanding what it is. Request, let me add 4 Java requests here. And let me name this 1, 2, 3, and 4. And okay, I have one thread. I will add listener, that is view result tree. I will save my test plan as test action sampler, and I will run this. So currently I will write just pause. It doesn't do any effect. Let me save, pause for 5 seconds. Let's see. So first this sample is executing, that it is wait for 5 seconds and then the execution would start. Let me put this test action after this. So first 2 requests should be executed, then wait for 5 seconds because it is written here, pause the current thread for 5 seconds and then execute. Let's see. Yes, 1, 2 executed and then it is waiting for 5 seconds. If I say stop, now let's see how it is working. Only 1, 2 request is executed and the test execution is stopped. Now let's say if I am executing the whole scenarios, these one thread 2 times. Okay, so let's see how it is going. It will print 1, 2, then it is saying stop. So it stopped this thread, also the next thread, because it is saying stop our test execution. Stop now, it's the same one. Stop says that perform the current activity, then stop. Stop now say just shut down now. So there is not much difference, but yes, they are more or less the similar thing. Go to next loop. What it means, execute one this, then stop, then execute the next loop. That is again 1, 2 would be printed. Anything after that test action won't be printed. Let's see. 1, 2 and again 1, 2. So these requests 3rd and 4th are not being executed. So this is how Actually, this is not a sampler, but it is being used to control our execution of the samplers. So the JMeter guys have just put it under the samplers. So that was all. That was all in the sampler section. Thank you.